Sprint Tactician back with another video. Now today we have a tactical breakdown. However, before we get into the semantics, please like the video. Comment down below what you want me to cover next if you have enjoyed the game as well. And of course, subscribe to the channel. This is how England beat Ukraine to reach the semi-finals of the Euros. So as you can see on your screen, we can see the starting lineup. Pickford in net, Maguire and Stone centre backs, Walker and Shaw as wing backs, Phillips and Rice both on yellow cards. In the midfield, with Mount in the 10, Sancho, who this is his first start of the tournament, on the right hand side, and Sterling on the left with Harry Kane up top. So the same shape as he has normally been playing, however just a bit of a difference with Sancho starting the game. Moving on to the Ukraine starting lineup. Now, I'm not familiar with a lot of these players, but I recognise Zinchenko, Yarmolenko. I've watched Ukraine a bit as well, as I've watched almost every game on the Euros, but they're going with a 3 at the back, or a 5 at the back almost, with 2 in midfield and a 3 up top. With it's almost a narrow 3, but we'll look at how the Ukraine set up anyway, and the tactics that they tried to use to nullify England, which didn't work very well. Anyway, moving on to the first analysis of the game. As we can see, the shape of Ukraine. This is in the third second of the game. You can see clearly the 5 at the back, 3 midfield and 2 up top. England are pressing after kickoff to get the ball back. Okay, so basic shape, basic setup for Ukraine. Now, what was very interesting with this is they retain this shape in possession and out of possession. From the start of the game, England had their fullbacks very wide and high at the same time. Not extremely wide and high, but wide enough to stretch Ukraine. Now, this is just a combination of play between Sterling and Shaw that was common throughout the game, and we'll keep revisiting this theme. But in this frame, we can see Maguire has options, Sterling and Shaw, because they're wide, because Sterling's tucked in and Shaw is wide, he has the option of both. But because Ukraine is so narrow and they're not pressing as well, that's an issue for them actually, which they didn't rectify. But because they didn't press and they tried to nullify the space, it just became a problem. Luke Shaw pulls a lot of their plays out wide along with Sterling. As we can see now, Maguire has the ball, and Maguire, he was also pivotal because he stepped out with the ball. He made sure that there was a link between the defence and midfield, between Luke Shaw and Sterling. He made sure that a lot of these players were supplied with the ball and carried the ball at defence, which is very good. Now, just analysing the goal, Sterling picks up the ball and Shaw essentially makes a run from outside to in, but most of the work comes from Sterling and his brilliant run essentially inside. Now, when he beats a couple of plays at this point, which we'll see just a bit later, he has an option to either keep running or to pass, and he makes the right decision. He lays it off, and a lot of this stuff came from the left hand side. The left hand side was the key to winning this game. Raheem Sterling releases the ball at this point in time. He has to beat a few plays before he can actually get it to Harry Kane. It's a brilliant pass, and Harry Kane's movement, his positioning was brilliant again. If you give Harry Kane chances, what will he score goals. And at this point, Harry Kane's been given a chance. He's almost one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He stretches himself and he scores a goal. England are up 1-0. All of this stuff happened from the left-hand side. That left-hand side for England is where everything happens. I remember when Grealish played as well. He plays from the left-hand side. It was, everything good that happens for England comes down the left. And in this case, again, that's what happened with Luke Shaw overlapping. Now, this is just after the goal. England are pressing. They're pressing just after kickoff. It's interesting because England didn't really press very high throughout the game, but every time, of course, after kickoff, they were very eager to kind of get the ball. But we can see in the next frame here, Ukraine have the ball, England shuffle across really well, and you can still see the shape of Ukraine in this game. And you can see again, Luke Shaw is very high onto his wing back at this point in time. So every single time their wing backs came up, we followed them back. Again, in this sequence, we can see that John Stones has the ball, building out from the back. Declan Rice is kind of holding the pivot role. What happens here is Calvin Phillips essentially is the runner from midfield. We can see here Jadon Sancho drops in, and this is what I like about this side as well. Jadon Sancho drops into the 10. Mason Mount moves out to the right. It's fluidity, it's brilliant fluidity from the side. And a lot of this dynamism is what allowed us to beat Ukraine. Ukraine just sat there, narrowed the midfield, and said, right, you've got to beat us through your wide areas. And that's what we did really well. And again, another clip here. Calvin Phillips, brilliant, coming short and showing, he did both jobs very well. Almost like an 8 in the side, carrying the ball to the forwards as well, and also showing us an option defensively and as a passing lane. This is how we broke down Ukraine. We just allowed ourselves to overrun their fullbacks and also just create more passing lanes than the Ukraine side, which was brilliant. It was very good from England, and I was very, very impressed with exactly how England performed in this match, and credit has to be given where it's due. But in this sequence, we can see, I'm just trying to highlight at this point, right? Calvin Phillips is essentially an 8. He picks up space in between the lines, and he's allowed to almost roam with Declan Rice sitting as an auxiliary DM. Now, Phillips picks up the ball. Sancho does a 1-2 with him. Now, Sancho is very good at getting out tight spaces, a quick dribbler, and this is exactly what he does in this situation. Sancho gets out of a tight space and he opens the pitch up, and this is brilliant from England. This is brilliant tactically. We destroyed Ukraine. Luke Shaw gets in on the byline, cuts it back, there's nobody there, but we're making chances. We're breaking Ukraine down. Again, another opportunity. Sterling has the ball. Luke Shaw's overlapping. He's in that space, and Sterling feeds the ball through to Shaw. This is what we like to see. We like to see these patterns of play where we're overloading them in certain situations and we're using our width to beat them. But essentially, Luke Shaw cuts it back to Sancho, and Sancho hits it at the goalkeeper, saves it. But that left-hand side was so electric, guys, and credit has to be given where it's due. One thing I was a bit concerned about was how easily Ukraine broke the lines at times. As we can see, Ukraine break 2 sets of lines, really, the attackers and midfielders, and the ball is with the Ukraine attackers now, and they have an opportunity to get in behind Kyle Walker. Now, be something to watch out, especially against Denmark, we will discuss them later in this video. Again, we can see Ukraine are on the ball, and they weren't very good with the ball, I'm not gonna lie, but they did create some chances. They were dangerous in certain areas of the pitch, and the ball comes out to the Ukraine players and it's a long shot. England only limit them to that, which is good. Now, the second half, Harry Kane wins a free kick 9 seconds into the restart. 9 seconds, right? Now, this is another weapon that England can use, set pieces. As we can see, Harry Maguire is almost like in an offside position. He's not, if the ball's taken out, he's offside. And as we can see in aerial view from this, right? But what Harry Maguire did, he does this all the time when I do watch him, but he comes from an offside position and tries to come onside again, and it kind of confuses the defenders a little bit, especially when he's coming from an offside position. To begin with, he comes from the offside position before the ball skates, it goes inside, and at this point I thought it was offside, right? But Harry Maguire does well to stay onside on the last man as well, and he powers home a second goal. Another weapon that England can use going forward again, set pieces. I think Ukraine were a bit weak, but Harry Maguire was just very strong at the same time, and he scores the second goal. England go 2-0 up. Brilliant from England. Very, very good. Now, one thing, again, after we scored this goal, I was impressed with how quickly we wanted to win the ball back. As you can see, Ukraine are on the ball. Sancho's pressing. Ukraine give the ball away. And the way we counter-attack very quickly, it wasn't extremely quick, but it was quick enough. It was good enough, right? It gave us so many options. And as we can see in the next frame, Sancho passes the ball to Mason Mount, I think it is, circulates the ball, and we have a situation where Luke Shaw can overlap again. This was almost overpowered in this game. Sterling waits for Shaw to overlap, overloading their wing back, and when Shaw gets into the byline, he puts in a brilliant cross to Harry Kane, and Harry Kane finishes it. It's 2-0, oh not 2-0, 3-0, and England are cruising. Another clip I wanted to show is the fourth goal. The fourth goal was, this is why I'm very skeptical with, the likes of Ukraine, because it felt too easy. Henderson just made a simple run against his man, beats his man, and it's 4-0. It felt too easy at the time, and when this goal went in, I think the game was over. But England did very well to use their strengths to make sure, they use their set pieces to the best of their advantages. And at the end of the day, England absolutely dominated Ukraine in this game. There was there can be no slander on Gareth Southgate's name from now on, because he's made some questionable choices, but they've all turned out to be the right choices to win the game. So credit has to go to Gareth Southgate, I do have to say. Another thing we see here is how deep England are in the last parts of the game. They're trying to hold on to their lead. They're trying to close down the spaces. I was very impressed. If it's time to sit back, we can do that, and I'm impressed with that as well. Gareth Southgate has to take credit for this victory. I know it was only Ukraine, but the job was done, and it was done efficiently. 4-0. I saw a lot of good, positive things during this performance that I haven't seen from England for a long time. Anyway, let's look at England's next game, Denmark. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How can England beat Denmark? Okay, so Denmark in their previous Davis game won 2-1, and they scored from a header in the first for their first goal. So really, they seem to be okay as well. So that's something to watch out for. Delaney scoring their goal there. Something I've noticed with Denmark is they play good football. They tactically, the way they set up is very, very, very positive. Now, just another example here. They're dragging some players out of position and creating runners in behind. Is very hard to defend against, right? Now we'll see the end result of that is the player gets into a crossing position and Delaney has a shot on target, but the way Denmark play is very expansive. Is something for England to watch out for. Now again, something that Denmark can be caught out with is intricate plays and balls in behind from players drifting inside. As you can see there, he plays a ball in and it's saved, but it's something that could trouble Denmark in this game. Another thing that Denmark are very good at is how technically proficient they are. They have some very good centre backs that can play the ball. As we can see, Vestergaard is on the ball here. Vestergaard pings it into the space for the attacker to run onto, and it creates an opportunity for Denmark. And he unfortunately wastes a chance, but it's just something for England to watch out for going forward. Again, fullbacks are an issue. They have some very good crosses at the ball. This goal came from a cross from their fullback, their left fullback, and Dolberg scores. It's something for England to watch out for, but I trust that this has been an issue that's been highlighted within, the coaching staff and the coaching setup. Because Denmark will play good football. They might change something slightly, but the way they play is very much front foot football. So that's something that maybe we can expect from Denmark. Something that potentially England can break Denmark down on is crosses as well. This is, I think it's Kufal, I think, swings in across. He doesn't go to the byline, but swings in across and scores from it. Now, of course, England have some very good crosses, like Shaw, Kyle Walker, and they can aim for Harry Kane, who has a very good shot on him as well. You could potentially also, we could exploit this in the game going forward. So this is the preview for the England game, the semi-final. It has also been the review for the quarter-final game. Please let me know if you've enjoyed